Hi everybody, Brian from Steeda, highlighting a component that is very important to reducing your 60-foot times for the S550 Mustang as well as the Shelby GT350, the Steeda rear lower control arm spherical bearing set. When it comes to maximizing the performance of your Mustang, especially for drag race applications, it's important to address the suspension. Not just the springs, the struts, the shocks, and things of that nature, but the pivot points. The factory bushings have a fair amount of compliance to them, and this is great for 90% of the people out there that are driving the car as it is, as a car. But for we enthusiasts, we demand so much more. From the factory, Ford utilizes both a bearing as well as a rubber bushing at both main mounting points for the Mustang's rear lower control arms. And this is important to note because the bearing is responsive, while the rubber bushing is designed to absorb and isolate noise. It can do this because it's a relatively soft durometer bushing. This means it's pretty flexible, but this also means that there's room for movement because in fact it is absorbing some of the control arm vibration. It is absorbing some of the movement of the control arm regardless of direction, up, down, or lateral. Another thing to keep in mind is with this deflection, the lower control arm is moving around a little bit. This means that the suspension in the back, its geometry is changing under hard acceleration and hard shifts. And what this ends up doing is making the back of the car squirmy. It also makes it vague, so it's hard to know until it's starting to move on you that it is in fact starting to move on you and step out. If you've gotten to that point where every 100th of a second counts, and we're guessing you are because you're watching this video, this is a part that you have to install, the Steeda spherical control arm bushings. And the reason is, the spherical bearing in these units completely eliminates the deflection of that soft rubber bushing. It in fact presses into the same location. Now let's touch on a quick note as far as installation is concerned. One, when you get this set of bearings, take a look at them. They're gorgeous. Two, the tool to install them is included. So if you take it to a local shop to have them pressed in, the tool is provided. The other thing to really keep in mind is that you have to be very careful in who you choose to do this or if you're going to try it yourself because the rear lower control arms are made out of cast aluminum. And if you don't have the press perfectly straight, you will stretch the opening and then these bearings will simply slide right through. So you do need to be careful. We definitely recommend professional installation as far as these bearings are concerned. The next little tip is put them in the freezer. Once you're done staring at them and admiring their beauty, because they are gorgeous pieces, put them in the freezer so that the metal contracts a little bit, be easier for your shop to press them in. All right, so enough about that. Let's get back to the performance of these things. Because we've eliminated deflection, we have 100% improved the way the car reacts to your inputs. We talked just a moment ago about launching the car, getting the car off the line, as well as with every shift. And just as important is getting rid of any movements that the car goes. Again, anything we can do to help keep energy from being absorbed by soft bushings and help it get transferred to the tires, the faster you're gonna go. The other huge advantage to this is the feedback that you as a driver have. We talked a little bit about the vagueness of the stock bushing and not really feeling the back of the car and what it's doing. These will help that. Now, something we definitely recommend installing if you haven't already when you decide to do these is a nice set of rear shocks. The shocks also do so much to improve the back of the car, the feel of the car, control, as well as power transfer. Because you're eliminating deflection, now the responsiveness of the back of the car is immediate to your inputs. You will want a good set of shocks to match this to kind of settle the back of the car down. This is also one of the reasons we recommend these for drag racing versus road racing and autocross. In road racing and autocross, you want to have a little bit more forgiveness. You want to have a little slower reaction time. But for you drag racers, it's about that reaction. It's about getting the power down. It's about getting down that quarter mile. The Steeda rear control arm spherical bearings get their name, well, from the spherical bearings that are enclosed in the 1018 steel bodies. These steel bodies are also nickel plated, but let's get back to this spherical bearing that's Teflon coated for durability and corrosion resistance. The reality is that the spherical bearing offers much freer movement. We talked at the beginning of the video about the binding and softness of that factory bushing. And a rubber bushing will not rotate, so under hard launches when the back suspension squats, that bushing actually binds. this bearing, spherical bearing, is going to rotate freely, and because it's spherical, meaning it can move in a roundabout motion, it won't bind to the control arm on launches. This is where you get that reaction time improved, as well as the 60-foot and ultimately those ETs. We proudly manufacture these in the USA at our Valdosta, Georgia facility because speed matters. They're also backed by lifetime warranty. This is because we know you're going to throw a lot at them, a lot of horsepower and a lot of launches. So please comment below. How much horsepower are you making? What sort of 60-foot times are you cutting? And what sort of ETs are you seeing? We definitely want to hear from you. To see the latest and greatest in what we're developing for the Silver Bullet, as well as our road race cars, follow us on social media. To learn more about the spherical bearings, as well as the other products we offer for Ford vehicles, definitely visit Steeda.com. Thank you so much for watching, and have a phenomenal day.